Yes, everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well if you're around here. Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, and give it a bloody good subscribe. Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Don't forget to check them out for the latest news, reviews, and opinions. So, a few interesting stories to talk about today. One is actually two are transfer related. One is transfer related, possibly with the incoming head coach, potentially, Ruben Amor. We'll talk about that a bit. And also another name has been added to the shortlist of managers that we've been linked to take over from David Moyes or become the West Ham head coach in the summer. So let's start with the title screen. Let's talk about Tim. As we know, Tim Stein is basically, well, he has spent some time in Brazil looking for potential players, and apparently this is the man he's been looking at. This is Tim's boy from Brazil. I mean, for those of you who don't know, it's Wesley. Wesley Cassover. And he's emerged as a transfer target ahead of the summer window, according to reports. There's initially reported via the English press, who has explained that West Ham are expected to open talks for the 19-year-old's transfer. Radio Italia in Brazil relay that they share their own information of the West Ham's pursuits for the young winger. He's a product of the Brazilian club's youth system and was promoted to the first team in 2022. Since then, he's made 56 appearances, scoring 4 goals and registering 3 assists in the process. And the report goes on to state that the Premier League side are interested in the player and advance the possibility of a deal in the next window. As I said, Tim was in Brazil, and he watched him live in action against Atletico MG this month. He was also accompanied to the game by Wesley's agent, who was called Clovis Henrique. It was a goalless draw. Wesley played the full 90 minutes and had, apparently, according to reports, a good performance. Now, his contract runs out, I think it's December 2027, and he has €100 million release clause. We wouldn't obviously go anywhere near that figure, but it shows how highly he's thought of amongst the Corinthians, particularly. Obviously, we bought players before from Corinthians. Fabian Balbuena, the captain, we bought him from Corinthians, I believe, if I remember correctly, the Paraguayan international. So, and obviously we have this setup, this Brazilian setup, set up by Rob Newman. So hopefully it will bear fruit, potentially. As I said, he's also, there was discussions that he was actually in Palmeiras talking to Abel Ferreira, who was the Palmeiras Portuguese manager. There's a lot of Portuguese managers we're linked with, isn't it? So there's Ruben, there's Ferreira, and also Fonseca, all Portuguese. So there could be a high chance that our next manager could be a Portuguese. And obviously we provided all the information about Ruben recently. Obviously, we've got the whole thing around Ruben in terms of his potential, apparently flying over for talks and things like that. And a player that we've been heavily linked to before, and even more so in the last 24 hours, is a move for West Ham to bring Pedro Goncalves with him in terms of Ruben Amor if he does come. Reports in the Portuguese press have stated that us and Aston Villa are keen on Pedro in the summer. Bayer Leverkusen offered around €30 million for him last summer and were not back. He has a €80 million €80 million release clause, and surely for the 25-year-old, we'd have to be somewhere close to that in terms of having any chance to land him. He's had 18 goals and 16 assists in 44 appearances so far this season. So that is 34 goal involvements in 34 games, almost best than 1 in 2, and he's really shone under Amor. I mean, you could see, the pair have been very well connected with their approach to the game. Pedro, as mentioned, definitely been someone we've been talking about him as well. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, through the middle as an attacking midfielder, and he is pretty central to how Ruben likes to set out his side. Particularly someone like and that I've gone through it. I think it was yesterday. I went through sort of the players that would benefit, and Edson Alvarez, for example, would be a phenomenal player in that CDM role, that linchpin role for Ruben, in a similar way that João Palhinha was before moving to Fulham. So interesting to see that Pedro is on with. It's not really interesting, not surprising really. He's his main boy, so we will see what happens there. And lastly, it's not just Ruben Amor that's on the shortlist. Yes, there was discussion yesterday and there was footage of him flying out from Lisbon to Stansted for apparent talks, which he returned quite early afterwards. So, and again, conflicting reports around how positive those talks were, if they happened. I think they did happen, but whether they're positive or not. It's also been claimed that Julian Lopetegui has flown over as well. But amid the buzz of the Amorim potential sort of talks that take over as head coach at West Ham, another name has emerged, and that comes from Jack Rossier, the Sun reporter, who did actually cover West Ham for a long time under the Evening Standard. He claims that ex-Bayern Munich boss Hansi Flick is also on the Hammers shortlist, and he apparently has already attended games at London Stadium this season. He was quoted in saying in his article, West Ham have admired Paulo Fonseca in the past, as well as Paris Saint-Germain manager Christian Galtier. Galtier was close to becoming Hammers boss a year ago, but he's now in charge of Qatar Stars League Cup club Al Duhai. But former Bayern Munich and Germany international manager Flick has also attended a game at London Stadium this season. Flick was basically Bayern Munich manager for 2 years, from 2019 to 2021, winning every possible club trophy there. He won the Bundesliga twice, the Champions League, the Super Cup, and the FIFA World Cup, the German Cup and the German Super Cup, and that earned him the German national side job, but a poor reign over somewhat of a transitional team, in all honesty, saw him leave after a last 16 exit to England in 2021 in the Euros, and a group exit in the Qatar World Cup. He's actually, I believe, the first German manager to have been sacked. I think so. But don't quote me, I'm pretty sure he is. But he's obviously been out of work since last September, so no compensation there. Whereas someone like Ruben Amor, we know, is going to cost around 12 to 13 million pounds in compensation currently. If he moves from to a Portuguese club, it's double that, triple that, I believe. But also, I believe if he waits next year, that goes down to 8 million euros, I believe, or something like that. But again, it's another name to add to the hat or the list. The list is growing almost as much as my Rusty Rumours list. I believe we're up to about 13 or 14 now on that. But anyway, that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time, as per usual. Please don't forget to check out theseotherbrand.com. Where is it? I'll bring it up. There it is. Bosh, for your latest news, reviews and opinions, and I'll be back, and Holly and Anton, very, very soon with some more content. Keep an eye also tonight. We should have Alex with his takeover Tuesdays, his TikTok takeovers. So keep an eye on the channel for that. No doubt more discussions about Ruben Amorim and the next potential head coach at West Ham. But let me know in the comments below what you think about Ruben. What do you think about Hans Flick as well? This could be an interesting one. There's a German connection as well. No doubt he will have a very good understanding of working with Tim and vice versa. Their time together, not time together, but time in the same league together. I'm sure they're acquaintances. But also we have been linked with Thomas Tuchel. the former Bayern Munich manager as well. But anyway, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and come on, you bloody Irons.